Hello and welcome back to the channel. Glad you could make it. Today I want to talk about a book called The Guns of Navarone. At least that's how I suppose it's it's to be pronounced. Now, several years ago, I came across a movie. I think I may have checked it out from the library called Force 10 from Navarone. It is a very old Harrison Ford movie. Anyway, I watched the movie, found out that it was a sequel to The Guns of Navarone, which was, let's see, I'm trying to remember who, Gregory Peck, David Niven, Anthony Quinn, starred in that movie. And I found out that it was all based on a book called The Guns of Navarone. I think I came across the book eventually in a thrift store. So I bought it, read it. I enjoyed it. It's not my typical choice for a book, but I enjoyed it. Anyway, the book is by Alistair. Now, I'm not sure if this should be MacLean or MacLean, because I've heard it pronounced both ways. Anyway, let me dive into it. So, the Guns of Navarone is actually based on it's a fictional account of something that. It didn't actually happen in real life, but the circumstances were true, if that makes sense. So, during World War II, let's set up the book first. So, it's World War II, and it's the campaign in the Mediterranean, and there's a group of Allied soldiers that is trapped on this island. Well, the only way to get to this island is to go past this other Greek island called Navarone. And that's why I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to be called. That's how they pronounced it in the movie. But anyway, so the British, they want to rescue these men. Well, they have to go, as I said, they have to go past this particular island to get there and to save these men. You wouldn't think that necessarily is too difficult. However, the island is held by the Germans, and the Germans make use of radar-controlled artillery guns. And so these guns are particularly deadly to ships coming through this particular area. And so what they need to do is they need to figure out a way to temporarily knock those guns out of commission so they can get the boats in, rescue these soldiers that are trapped on this island, and get them back out. So while that didn't actually happen in World War II, the Battle of Leros provided inspiration for this particular story. Apparently, there were 11 guns on this island. They were 152 millimeter guns. They called them coastal artillery guns. Apparently, they'd been used by the Italians and were captured. It's kind of weird the way this happened. So apparently, the British and Italians were fighting over the island, defending, something like that. But the British ended up surrendering when the Germans came in, and the Germans then held that island for the rest of the war. So any attempt to go past this island meant that if you were a boat, you were under threat of these guns. So the Allies, as I said, they would like to go in and rescue these soldiers. The problem is that they can't figure out how to get past these guns. They tried to they tried to bomb the island, but apparently the guns were protected, and the bombing didn't work. So they ended up putting together a team of commandos to go in and try to destroy these guns. The commandos, Captain Keith Mallory, apparently from New Zealand, a very active mountaineer prior to the war. His friend, Andrea, who was a former lieutenant colonel, apparently, with the Greek army. There was Corporal Dusty Miller, who was an explosives expert from the United States. Petty Officer Telegraphist Casey Brown, a Royal Navy engineer, and then Lieutenant Andrew Stevens, naval officer who was going to be navigating for them. So they get together this force of men, and they tell them, what you're going to do is you're going to land on this island, and you're going to climb this impassable cliff on the south end of the island. And that's how you're going to get in. Then once you're in, you're going to then plant explosives, destroy the guns, and get out. There's a lot of intrigue and danger, obviously, because they're on an island. They're a small force of men trying to sneak into a German military base on an island. There's no way that they should be there. The only way they could be there is if they are spies and saboteurs, which would mean that they are enemy combatants and possibly could be just shot on sight instead of captured. On top of that, no one has been able to climb the this south cliff to get into the fortress. And these men are tasked with doing this impossible job, and they have a week to do it. They have to get from Egypt, from Cairo. They have to then go somehow sneak onto this island, climb the unclimbable south cliff, then sneak past all the Germans, get into the fortress, plant the explosives, destroy the guns, and get out. And pretty much, if you think about it, this is a suicide mission. They're most likely not coming back. They're most likely not even going to survive. Not even going to. I was about to say survive, but that's redundant. We knew they weren't going to survive. What I should have been striving to say here is that they're most likely not even going to be successful in the mission. And there's 1,200 British soldiers that are counting on them. On top of that, all of the soldiers and personnel that are on the military boats that are going to rescue these 1,200 soldiers. As I said, I like the book. It's not very long. It's only 288 pages, according to the information that I looked up. I seem to recall it being much smaller than that. So it could be a difference in publication companies. I'm not sure. Again, as I said before, this is not typically a book that I would have chosen for myself. And in fact, if I hadn't actually watched Force 10 from Navarone, which, while interesting, and I did like the movie Force 10 from Navarone, it wasn't the best movie. It was kind of one of those slow burn movies where you're hoping that it picks up and it continues kind of on its slow, even pace. Harrison Ford, I thought did an okay job. Gregory Peck, if I remember right, was in it. I'd have to go and double check on that. I remember him being the standout in that movie. But back to the Guns of Navarone. Again, my criticism of the book is that not that it's not well written, not that it doesn't have good characters, but that sometimes it felt a little bit what's the word I'm looking for here? It felt a little bit contrived in a lot of instances. The characters, they were fine, but there were some things. I was looking over a synopsis because it has been some time since I read the book. I remember the basic plot, which was that they needed to get in and destroy these guns, and that they were a commando force. And that I didn't remember that the main officer, the Captain Keith Mallory, was from New Zealand. I just remembered that he was a mountaineer, and that's why they chose him to go on this mission, because they needed someone. And he, again, I remembered that his reputation was such that it was felt that he could do the impossible. I didn't remember that they had nicknamed him the Human Fly. So I was looking up some information on the book prior to doing this review, and there reminded me of some of the details that I had forgotten, like they caught someone who was supposedly a spy at the beginning of the book. They were being eavesdropped. Somebody was eavesdropping on them. They caught the person. He was the laundry boy for the base, who allegedly spoke no English. But why would he be listening to them if he didn't speak English? The other thing is that it's implied heavily throughout the book that there is there's someone who is trying to sabotage this mission, but you never really find out who. The Germans seem to know where this group is without being told where they are. You never really get that side, like the Germans are getting communiques from a spy, and so they know there's someone on the island, things like that. It's just the Germans show up where these people happen to be. And so, like I said, there's some things that it seemed like he was driving forward the plot and putting these people in manufactured danger as opposed to actual danger. I mean, yes, they were in actual danger, but it wasn't like they're walking along and they happen to run into a patrol. It's the patrol was waiting for them. And when they do shoot they do kill someone who they believe is the spy. There's no confirmation that is who the spy is. It's just like the spy is killed, and through their grit, they manage to get back on track to finish the mission, and it's not like the Germans suddenly, or like don't know where they are and stuff like that. It's still like somehow so the Germans still somehow are able to keep track of them, even though supposedly, like I said, that's the criticism that I have of the book. If it is a book, so let me rephrase that. When I read a book, if it is a book I like, it goes on my bookshelf, and I keep it because I will probably read it again. This one is still on my bookshelf because I will probably read it again. Whereas if I get a book and I don't like it, I get rid of it because I'm never going to read it again. I don't keep books that I don't intend to read. Or like I've gotten my children into reading, and my children, while I don't necessarily always like the books that they read, And they don't always like the books that I read. They know that I have tons of books that if they want something new, they can go ahead and grab it. So this is, like I said, I liked this book. I enjoyed reading it. I thought it was very interesting. I liked the tense atmosphere that was created by this, kind of cat and mouse hunt, where it was not necessarily cat and mouse, but like the cat knows where you are kind of thing. And it is only through the sheer bravery and abilities of the mice that they're able to get away from the cat. Anyway, highly worth the read. I don't know about the movie. I haven't actually seen the movie, The Guns of Navarone. I assume that the movie did well because it got a sequel. So one day I think that I may track down The Guns of Navarone and see how it is. As I said, I did like Force 10 from Navarone, even though it was a bit slow in its pacing, and it could have definitely used some help there. Anyway, that's it for me today. Like, subscribe. Let me know if you've read this book. Let me know if this is kind of your interest. And if you have read this book, let me know your thoughts on it. Comment down below as always. Put on the bell so you get notifications when I release new videos. And until next time, enjoy what you're reading.